Welcome back, everybody. It's time for another round of the Roswell virtual showrooms.
Right on. Yeah, welcome everybody.
This is our new Zoom. It's so good it looks like Matt is in the studio.
It's called Zoom VR. So I'm in my studio at home, but it looks like I'm right here.
Those holograms have nothing on us.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. Really appreciate your support. Great to see some familiar names in the chat. My name is Matt McGlynn. This is Roswell Virtual Showroom number 8.
Yes, number 8.
Number 8. And so are we so good?
Yeah.
So I hope you guys can hear me. Let me know. I assume you can. I'm trying to, I'm not already bored looking at my phone, watching the chat on my phone. Anyway, we have some great players with us here tonight. And you might recognize the drummer, Charles Ruggiero, was with us in, I think, episode 6. And we had so much fun, we invited him back, and he brought some friends who are just kind of blowing our minds. So, and we're going to hear from everyone, we're going to see everyone as we go, but I just want to get their names out there. So we have Larry Goldings on piano, we have Ralph Moore on sax, we have Mike Gurrola on bass. So thank you to you four. Charlie and Ernesto and I had the pleasure of sitting through various sound checks, and it's been great. So you guys are in for a treat. So good, you can hear me. So a couple of quick announcements. This is Charles's new CD. I think you guys can see that.
Can you see that? Yeah.
Yeah. So we are giving away a couple of copies of this, and the way that you enter that drawing is to leave a comment on the video. Now, you cannot leave a comment during the stream. You have to wait till after the stream's over, and then it becomes a YouTube video. And so come in, tonight, tomorrow, whatever, and we'll pull winners from the comments on the video, and we'll probably do that like Monday, because I'm out of town in LA this weekend. So when I get back, we'll pull some winners for that, and we will send the winners a physical CD if you're in the country, and if you're out of the US, we'll send you a download link for digital. Yeah, exactly. So the other thing we're going to do is give away a new microphone, and we should talk about the new microphone, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So we've come up with a new microphone called the Roswell Mini K67X, and it came out in April.
We being him.
Me came up with the new microphone, and we announced it in April, launched it in April, and it's become an instant bestseller. It has a lot in common with our Colaris, if you know that one. Similar circuit, very different capsule. We spent a couple years on this capsule, refining it. It is a K67 capsule, hence the name of the mic, K67, and then the mic also has an X at the end. The X stands for transformer. So we're going to hear it tonight on drum overheads and also on bass.
Yes.
Yeah, bass. So that's exciting. Looking forward to that. And then we're also announcing tonight a new custom shop color, which is really difficult to show. I'm going to hold it up and see if you can see it at all.
It looks good.
No idea if that's still in focus, but this is our new color. It's called Deep Purple. So it's a glossy purple metallic. And it's really nice. And that's it's going to be in our custom shop next week. But that's actually the mic we're giving away during this live stream. So this Mini K67X in Deep Purple we're giving away during the live stream. And so
is that the same thing? You need to leave comments?
Yeah, so the way this one's going to work, because I know a lot of people tuned in for the live stream in order to win the mic, in hopes of winning the mic. And so to be fair to all of you, what I'm going to do is copy everyone who leaves a comment in the chat. So the chat is the thing that you can look at and type in right now. So leave a chat with your name, and we'll pick a random winner. Now, I can't do it during the stream because we don't have the tools or the time, but I'll have a copy of the chat, and I'll pick a winner from the chat and announce it somehow, probably in the comments, because if I don't know who you are, and then I can't reach you, so I'll leave a comment on the video that says who won the mic. Okay, so that way the people who are watching this in real time and can participate in the chat, you have a chance to win this very microphone. So good luck to you. The only exceptions to that are void where prohibited. Some places don't allow sweepstakes, games of chance. And we can't ship to some places, including for sure Russia and Ukraine, unfortunately. So people who live in places that we just can't ship stuff to, unfortunately, are not eligible. And
if you're watching this on the Ultimate Studios Inc. YouTube channel, you have to go to the Roswell Pro Audio YouTube channel and leave a comment there. You can leave comments on ours too, but I'm not shipping out any mics.
Right on. And I think that's it for That's it for me. So let's talk about what mics we used and how how'd we pick and where we put them.
Okay, well, let's start with, since we're talking about the 67X being the new one, we wanted to kind of go a little heavy with that. So the drum overheads, and that is probably 85% of the actual sound, is the 67X on the overheads. Then there is a snare mic, which is the STC 84, and there is a Mini K 47 KD on the kick. And his rig sounds fantastic. The kick is nice, but the majority of the sound is coming from those overheads because they make really nice overhead mics. They're very full sounding. And then we have another one on the bass.
Yeah, Mini
Right?
K67X on
Yep.
bass. That's right.
Which I have used on electric bass quite a bit. And Ernesto, I know we've done that a lot. We love it on electric bass. It has not disappointed on the upright. And it's a very nice sounding upright too. It's fantastic. We'll get to that in a second, but it is an amazing sounding instrument. Then what do we have? The piano this time around, we went with the Delphos 2.
Mm-hmm.
We've done a lot of the Claris, which if you guys have seen any of my videos, you know that's my favorite mic for this particular piano. I have the Delphos 2 in the same exact position as the Claris. There's 4 bays in the back. The first bay in on one side high, and the first bay in on the other side low. And that's where it is. The Delphos 2, this piano is a fresh tuning from yesterday. It's sounding really, really nice.
And the mics are in cardioid.
And the mics are in cardioid. Yep, and no pad on.
How far off the soundboard are they?
It's not even 6 inches. They're actually, it's
close.
probably only about 5 inches off, so they're pretty close, yeah.
Okay.
And I
then
actually
are
like that piano micing from the back. I'm not a huge fan of the micing up by the hammers.
Are you doing low frequency roll off on the
Nope.
board there?
I'm not doing anything. Well, that's another thing on this. There is nothing. The only thing I'm doing on any EQ to the individual instruments is I'm rolling off some 15K out of the bass mic because there's nothing up there on the bass, and it's just mitigating cymbal bleed. That's it.
And we'll talk more about bleed as we go. But we've got 4 guys playing live together, and so you can hear. I mean, Charlie and Ernesto set up the room in a way that, for example, in the piano mics, you don't hear much drums at all. Because the way the piano is kind of forward of the drums, and so the mics are around the corner of the piano with no line of sight to the drums. So there are a bunch of positioning tricks like that have been employed.
Yeah.
But the sax kind of bleeds into everything.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've got
Usually
Ralph.
it's the drums that bleed into everything, and that kind of is the case, but the sax is the king.
Yeah, so the sax is kind of going everywhere, but you'll hear that as we go, and that's just part of the mix. So.
Yeah, and we're not, the whole point with this bleed thing, just real quick, I am not a believer in bleed is bad. I think bleed is a lot of life in a lot of cases, and as long as you have good placement, the instruments and the mics, that bleed can help make things feel more full and alive and not sterile. And so don't be afraid of bleed, as long as it's, you're not pulling your piano up and it's just a drum room mic, which actually isn't the case here, but sometimes with an acoustic bass, it can be that way. And we are covering up the mics on the piano. You can't, Ernesto, is there a shot that we can see that at all?
Not really.
No, you can't really see it because it's off camera. But I have 2 gobos, and I have a blanket over it just covering the back of the piano, so it's just getting a little bit of extra bleed, mainly because the piano is facing the sax player. Mm-hmm. So we're just trying to love the sax, just trying to keep it out of the piano a little.
So should we hear some of these soloed?
Yeah, let's do it.
Who should we
What do you
start
want to start with? We're starting with drums. Come on. Come on now. Charles, you out there?
I am.
Let me get your talk back up. All right. Let's just hear. I'm actually going to mute the kick and snare. Let's just hear those overheads. Play a little. All right, I'm going to pull in the kick and snare. Go ahead and play a little. I'll give him a few bars, and then I'll turn the kick and snare mic on. Go for it again. On. Nice. Hey, do you have any dampening? I didn't even ask you this in sound check. The kit sounds fantastic. Are you dampening anything?
No, nothing's got any. There's like it's completely. It's sort of geared actually because this kit is mostly used for live performances.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't. You know what I mean? So it's supposed to. The sound is supposed to carry.
Right.
But that's kind of That's one of the things I like about this kind of mic setup is that it's not. We're not really relying on getting really up close and personal with the drums and capturing each thing separately. We're sort of approaching it as more of one instrument, and I feel like to that end, I don't want anything to sound dead. That's only really for me when you close mic something.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and for this kind of mic setup, the tuning you have, things being more open and higher, actually it's a lot easier for these mics to pick up the tone of, say, the toms.
Yeah.
That way,
sure.
that if they were tuned low, they would get lost by the time they hit the overheads.
Yeah. And a lot of, I think one of the things, I can't speak to these mics particularly because this is my first experience with them.
Uh-huh.
But the last time we were here, and for my home use, because I have the K47 at home, the mini K47. What I really like about it is the fact that it doesn't, like, I get the drums and the cymbals come through the same. You know what I mean? Like some overhead mics, you're gonna pick up more cymbals or more drums depending, and I have found that that's not the case. You know what I mean? It sort of picks up everything equally, so I don't have to, like, when I go to mix, because I mix most of my own stuff. I don't have to decide what gets less action. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It gets to blend the whole thing together. So that's one of my favorite things about it.
That's a little bit of a common theme with all of your mics, actually, Matt, is they're not scooped, down in like where the low mids and the mid range is. You leave things pretty natural there, which is nice because, one, it allows us, the engineers and musicians to make a decision on what they want, but a lot of times you don't need to do anything there because it's there. Mm-hmm. And that, to Charles's point here, makes it easy to capture a full kit there with just a pair of mics overhead.
Yeah,
on the
especially when you're playing jazz and you're not and you're relying on like a pretty wide dynamic range. You know what I mean? And you don't want anything scooped out, like, because the mic is making a decision sonically for you, and it really shouldn't be that way. You should be able to capture the entire dynamic range at once. You know what I mean? Yep,
exactly. I agree. Yeah, that sounds good. Let's move around the horn here. Which way do you want to go? Left or right?
Left.
Okay, we're doing the rhythm section. Let's talk some bass. Okay, now, I'm going to have to ask you where we actually ended up with this, because full disclosure, I had the mic just set up in the position for the upright bass, and no height or anything, was just there. You came up and did all the positioning with the instrument because you know that instrument. Can you kind of tell us where that's at? Yeah. And I'll see if I can get you loud enough.
Yeah.
Here.
Is that good?
Yeah, just speak a little loud.
Okay. Well, I don't know if you can see the bass out there or not, but I have it. Here's the F hole on the bass on the bridge, so I have it kind of positioned somewhere in the middle of those two, which is a very common place that you see a lot of bass players put the mic, like especially in live situations. I think I told you when you first asked too, there's different places we can put it in a studio setting like this, so that's why I kind of, at first I had it more over the bridge, like, above kind of where between the fingerboard and the bridge here. So that can work sometimes very nicely, but there was a reduced low end in that area, so I think here is kind of the sweet spot for this particular mic and room.
Yeah, I actually think it's a really nice balance. I love that when someone knows their instrument, they just know right where to go. Yeah. Made it really easy. Can we hear a little bit of that?
Yeah, sure.
Here, do that one more time. I had the talkback mic on out there at the same time. Do that one more time. Nice. That sounds great, man. You have a fantastic sounding bass. Just gorgeous. All right, moving around right. We're going to stick with the right, going right?
Yeah.
No left turns here. Let's hear a little bit of sax. Now we're... Ooh, interesting. Yeah, keep going. Now it's just the sax mic, and then I'm going to turn the other mics on so everybody can hear the bleed. Go for it again. Nice. Hey, you were saying something earlier just that I think is interesting about the way your reed changes the tone.
Well, it was my mouthpiece, so I'm playing a different mouthpiece than I would typically play right now, and even though it's the same number, it's the same measurement, it's quite different. It's really clear to the point where I'm afraid maybe I need a little bit of the fluff on it, but for right now I'm kind of digging it. But here today in this microphone, I'm feeling exactly, it's precise, it's so precise, it's so what I'm hearing. If I go play against a wall in my house and then come back and play in this microphone, it's very succinct. There's no other stuff on it for me.
Yeah, it's really clear, very clear. And that is the Mini K87, which is a bit smoother, especially in that mid-range, which for, sax doesn't need any help there.
It is, but what's interesting about what you just said, Ralph, is that mic, like if you were to come to me and said, I want a mic that doesn't have any extra stuff on it, I'd say, well, Mini K87. I mean, that's what that mic is supposed to sound like. It's kind of like what you give it is what you get back. And there's no weird EQ or any additional stuff that happens, whereas, some of the other models do. The other ones are designed to do, something extra.
Yeah, I can dig that too. But I've never experienced anything like this, so precise and so exactly.
Well, that's cool. We've done something today that he's never done before. I love it. All right, let's move around the horn. Final stop over on the keys. Can we hear a little piano there, sir? Nice. Man, all of you guys sound fantastic. This is so awesome. This is why I do this. This is totally why I do this. So, hey, dude, that was just the Delphos 2s underneath the blankets and the gobos. So would you mind, Larry, playing just a little bit more? I'm going to go ahead and kick on the overheads and everything and see what happens. Nice. We actually have really good separation on the piano. It's a much smaller difference once we kick all the other mics on. With the sax, you put the drum overheads. It was obvious there was some natural ambience. Same thing with the bass and the drums. With the piano is pretty tight, actually.
Yeah, and I was going to clarify one thing because you said here's just the piano mics, and then I'm going to turn on the overheads as if we had mics overhead the piano, which is not the case. What Charlie meant is the drum overheads that are capturing the ambient bleed of the piano in the room.
I need you around more to translate for me when I skip over things. That would be helpful. What do you want to do now? Let's get a reminder. We got a giveaway going here, and then I think it's time to hear some music.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so 2 giveaways. So we're giving away Charles's new CD. In fact, you're about to hear 3 songs from this CD tonight. So this is a CD of original music by the drummer Charles Ruggiero, and they're composed by Charles as well, which is why the album is called Drummer Composer. So we're giving away a couple copies of this, and to enter that drawing, leave a comment on the video after the stream is done, and you can go to the video on YouTube, leave a comment. And then we're also giving away our fancy new glossy purple custom shop edition of the Mini K67X, and the drawing for that will be a random drawing of the people who leave a comment in the chat, which is running next to the live stream video right now on the Roswell channel. So those of you, for both of these, who are watching on the Ultimate Studios channel,
Gotta go to
great.
Roswell.
You can watch it there, but if you want to enter the drawings, come on over to the Roswell one, just so we can keep track of people.
So before we play, I have one question though, because we didn't talk about this yet, and since it's brand new, I think it's worth saying what goes behind, or what was the decision behind the decision to make. I'm gonna see if I can talk some English here. What was behind the decision to add the 67X to the Mini K lineup?
Okay.
Because what's different about it?
Yeah. So the Mini K product line, in a nutshell, is I think of it as a palette of paintbrushes or paint colors, right? I mean, forgive me, those of you who have heard me give some version of this spiel before, but if you play guitar, you probably don't have one. You probably have a bunch, and they're probably not all the same, right? They're all different because they all sound different, and they make you feel different things and play different things, right? And so all of those instruments, why would anyone think that a single microphone could perfectly capture all those instruments? It just doesn't really make sense. And so we make a lot of different microphones with the intent that they all sound different. And a lot of that comes down to, well, really 2 things in a simplistic sense. It's the capsule, and then it's the circuit. So in general, in a condenser mic, the capsule determines frequency response, which is kind of the tone of the microphone. And then the circuit determines things like gain, sensitivity, which is kind of the same thing, noise and distortion. And those can lend character, not the noise so much, but like distortion, for example. Distortion is a very musically useful thing, depending on what kind it is and how much there is.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, you can buy hardware whose job is to distort your signal. And I don't just mean guitar pedals. So anyway, the Mini K67X introduces a brand new circuit to the Mini K product line. And like I said before, it's based on the Colaris circuit. And if you look inside this, there is a kind of oversized output transformer in there. It's that thing poking out the back. And then a circuit that works around that and in conjunction with that to create some even order harmonics. And the reason for that is that it complements the sound. And so, an old friend of mine once told me, vocals love transformers. And it's not true that every transformer circuit is going to give you that kind of transformer sound. And, some people call it warmth, and there's different kinds of words for that. But this mic definitely does. It definitely kind of creates some even order harmonics, which can saturate the sound and make it sound a little richer, a little fuller, can help vocals cut through a mix, that kind of thing. So anyway, we had that sound in the Colaris, but that's a $1,200 microphone, and that's not in everybody's budget. Now that particular mic, the Colaris, does some tricks that this one does not, but we definitely borrowed some of the secret sauce from the Colaris when we designed the Mini K67X. So that's, in a nutshell, that's the new
It's
mic.
become one of our favorites. I mean, I'm not going to speak for you completely, but I know you've really fallen in love with on bass, acoustic guitar.
It's great.
We use it a ton. I mean, it's And it's great on drums. I know one of the first things, and I want to say this because it's important. One of the first things when I told you I'm shoving it on an overhead, you're like, I don't know if it's going to handle that. And we put it through, Ernesto and I one night put it through the paces, and it handled everything I threw at it with no problems and sounded great.
Well, that's good to hear. The thing about having the circuit create some even order harmonics is it's a bit of a balancing act because you want for a mic placement at this kind of distance, if you want to create some of that second harmonic or character sound, then you have to create the circuit. You have to do the gain staging such that this kind of input at a singing volume is going to push the circuit into that kind of nonlinear behavior where it's going to create some harmonics. But the side effect of that is when you put it, 2 feet above 150 decibel rim shot, then you're pushing past the nice, warm, squishy saturation sound and into just sort of crunchy distortion. So your
Beastie
overheads
Boys made a career out of that.
your overheads are probably, well, I'm sure they're higher than mine because I've seen them.
Mine are usually somewhere in about 6 feet off the floor, so around my head height. I don't really like overly high overheads.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll depend on the drummer. Sometimes you get a taller drummer, long arms, whatever. You have to move it around, or you get a loud drummer that you just have to get them out of the way some.
Yeah. So these are the things. And so for those of you who are considering a pair of the Mini K67X for drum overheads, it's actually not something you have to worry about because the pair version has a switch inside, which is a little extra feature for you and a little get-out-of-jail-free card for me because if you put the mics up over your drums and you start digging in and it starts to get crunchy, you just screw the body off like I did a second ago and flip that switch and put it back together, and that's going to buy you another 10 dB of headroom. And if you clip that, then you're doing something wrong. So
play softer.
Yeah.
So is that pad also affecting how hard the transformer is getting hit? Is it similar to how you designed the Colaris in that aspect?
A little bit. Yeah, but the point of it though is that it's going to buy you the headroom so you can play the loud rim shots. And I mean the other factors there. I mean it's how hard you play, how loud you are. Probably the size and shape of the room matters, but the mic height matters a lot too. So in my home studio with its kind of low ceiling, I'm at 2 stick heights above the snare.
Oh yeah,
which is like 30 inches or something, and so it's relatively low and it's pointed right at it. The one overhead's pointed right. Well, actually, they both are, but. So yeah, and I kind of play too loud. So if I hit a really loud rim shot on a loud drum, then
yeah, you're recorder man height. I see what you mean now. So compared to where you are, mine are definitely higher. Yeah,
and all that stuff matters. But inverse square law works in your favor too. So if you are, and this is for any mic, if any mic you have is overloading, especially if it's really close to the source, like a guitar cab or a snare drum, I mean, back it off another inch or two, and if you double the distance, that gets you 6 decibels of reduction in SPL. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, so far we haven't had any problems, with that, and I like the saturation you get. Sometimes I like to push the mic into that, and then I don't have to do it somewhere else.
Yeah.
But it sounds good. It can handle it. It's smooth, and it has a nice low mid. There's a good body to this mic. The drums, even now, I'm hearing just on Charles's kit, compared to what I'm used to hearing with one of the ones that we have set up. It's still very full. It's very round.
Mm-hmm. We should get to some music.
That's what I'm saying. Charles.
You guys ready?
I don't know if you guys got a shot of Delilah, but she's really coming through beautifully in the background.
She is right behind my chair, literally.
Yeah, you could just barely hear her. The mic is picking her up beautifully. It's wonderful.
There's, she's more famous than I'll ever be.
All
right, you guys ready to do it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado.
And I'll take 8 out front. Altered States.
That was freaking great.
Thanks, man. This next tune is a tune called Altered States. That first one was a composition called Leeway. And this is this is Altered States. One, two, one, two, three, Beautiful. Let's do the blues and we can stretch out a little bit. We got like 10 minutes.
Yeah, you guys, this sounds fantastic. You guys are killing it.
Thank you so much. So we're just, rather than play two short ones, we're gonna play a nice blues, and we're gonna all stretch out a little bit on it.
That sounds great.
Actually, you know what? Why don't we do this? Larry, take two choruses out front, and then Ralph, come in after those two choruses with the melody. Yeah. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Right on.
Nice.
That was amazing.
Nice.
Beautiful. Thank you guys so very much. That's Larry Goldings at the piano, Ralph Moore on the tenor saxophone, and Michael Gurrola on the bass. I'm, of course, Charles Ruggiero. And that's it.
Fantastic.
That's what we have for you.
Thank you guys so much. Yeah, that's the wrap on the stream. So thanks everyone for tuning in. I will announce the microphone winner in YouTube comment. Honestly, probably not till Sunday, only because I didn't bring a laptop and I don't have any means to do this process. So look for that on Sunday. And the CD winners, same deal. Leave a comment on the video once it's up and enter that CD drawing. And but if you don't win, pick up a copy of Charles's new CD called Drummer Composer. He would love it. And you just heard a couple clips from there, and it's fun. It's great. So I think that's anything on your end, Charlie?
Nope. Thanks for joining us. This was fantastic. Thanks all you in there.
Yeah. Huge thanks to the band. Thank you, Charlie. Thank you, Ernesto. Thank you, Delilah.
She hasn't moved an inch.
Right on. Thanks, everybody.
Everybody.
See you next time.
Have a good night.